These clicky things are quite good, aren't they? Okay, so welcome to my YouTube, my very first video. So I've got so much I want to talk about, literally so much. I'm trying to choose the first topic. I'm so indecisive anyway, so it was quite a challenge. But what I wanted to talk about first, travelling versus settling. So this video is for people that are
debating going travelling. Maybe you've graduated from uni, maybe you've been working a couple of years and you're thinking, what the next step is, and travelling's always on your mind. So
I've been travelling myself, and I just think it was honestly one of the best experiences that I have ever done, and I just would really encourage other people to do it. However, we sort of have this life timeline that a lot of people have to try and stick to. So I think there's 5 things that can really get in the way of actually going travelling. So I think career, property ladder, I think is another one. I think other people's opinions, friends and family in particular, can really get in the way. The fear, kind of it being quite a big step and not knowing what to do, how to even go about it, can be something else. And lastly, I think age has a massive thing. I think people can get in their mind that they're either they're too old now to do it, they've left it too late. So I just wanted to talk about each of those things. Hopefully it might help some of you guys out there. First of all, career. It's a huge pressure on young people. You've got to know what you want to do. You need to know to take the right steps to be successful. And to be quite honest, I think so many people don't know what they want to do in their life. They just don't. And I think that's okay. And I think we have to not stress about that. So if you have a feeling that you want to go traveling and it's kind of always on your mind, always bugging you, it just seems to be everywhere, it's always popping up on Instagram, I think you really need to listen to that. And you're probably meant to go traveling over trying to figure out your career right now. Rather than trying to force your career or trying to figure out what you want to do, maybe just do the traveling. It's a year, 2 years, 6 months, whatever you want it to be, even 3 months, whatever you want it to be. I think if you have that in you, you've got your whole life ahead of you for your career. And also when you go abroad, I went to Australia for 2 years, I was still working out there. So I had a number of different jobs, and so I was still building my CV. And then when I came back to the UK, I was still using those things on my CV to help me with my career path. So I just think we shouldn't let the idea of having to figure out a career get in our way. Career will come, and at the end of the day, traveling will give you so much life experience. You're going to grow so much as a person that actually you may figure out what you want to do, or you may get a few steps closer to knowing what you want to do. So go traveling, that is my advice. You can sort your career out anytime. Traveling, you can't really go at any time. If you've then got commitments, houses, children, you can't get a one-way ticket and leave. Okay, next, property. In case you just see me looking over there, I have made a little note just so that I don't forget the things I'm talking about. So that's why. So number 2, property ladder. This is another big one, and I think especially for maybe mid-20s to late 20s heading towards 30s. Even young 20s, whatever. But property ladder is a huge thing. Getting on the property ladder, we must get on and own our own property so we're not wasting money on rent and therefore we haven't got money for travelling. I just think, again, there is so much time to buy a house in your life. You have your whole entire life to purchase a house. And, renting, I do get it. I really do get it. You don't want to be giving the money to pay somebody else's mortgage. But at the end of the day, renting isn't horrendous, and you're still exchanging money for a home. You can own your own home, but if you're kind of really got this innate desire to go traveling, but it's kind of parents saying, oh, but you really should be thinking about getting your own home, you just gotta really weigh it up and think, what, I've got the whole time, my whole life to buy a home. I haven't got my whole life to do traveling. In the grand scheme of things, going traveling for 1 to 2 years or 6 months is actually not that long. So again, lots of time for properties. you can get there. There are some people out there that just are not interested in traveling at all. Therefore, if you want to go, you should really listen to that and not worry about the stresses of career and property ladders get in the way of that. So number 3, other people's opinions. Now, this is a big one because like I just said, like not everyone wants to go traveling. In fact, like a good friend of mine, the idea of traveling for her is an absolute nightmare. She needs to know what's going on, when, how, everything. She couldn't think of anything worse than going traveling. So if you want to go traveling, then listen to that. Again, that is part of you. And you may have parents that don't really get it. You may have friends that are like, why would you do that? Like, why are you not trying to figure out your life? That is figuring out your life. Like, going traveling is one of the best things. If you get to 50 or 35, 40 and you think, damn, I really wish I'd gone traveling. Like, I really wish I had gone traveling like when I could in my early 20s, late 20s, whatever it is, then you're going to have a serious regret about that. But you can go traveling and you can sort your career out. You can sort your properties out. You can do everything after traveling still. Okay, number 4, the fear, not knowing what to do. Obviously going traveling, quite often it's like a huge new experience for us. And, you know, it can seem quite daunting, you know, going across the world or Asia, or sometimes you just got to book the flight. And quite honestly, when you go traveling, you don't need to know when you're going here, when you're leaving, what plane you're getting, like how you're doing it, how this, how that. Like, I honestly booked a flight and that was the first thing. And I booked my beginning hostel in Sydney. And that was literally the first thing. And everything else, just when we arrived in Sydney, everything unraveled. We met people in the hostel. We ended up doing then like a big tour thing and went to Adelaide, and that's where I met one of my best friends now. So just, you actually don't want it to be too structured because it doesn't allow that traveling freedom and flow to actually happen. So if you really, really want to go, but you're worried about it, you can YouTube travelers. There's tons of stuff on like what to pack, where to go, like different, if you want to go on a tour group, you know, going to a travel agent, like just start making the steps where things actually start seeming a little bit more realistic rather than just sitting at home in bed thinking, oh, I'd love to go traveling, but just seems so out of reach and I just don't know how to do it. You know, figure out how to do it. Ask yourself, how can I make this happen? And go and make it happen. If anyone needs any travel advice, you're more than welcome to reach out to me on Instagram is probably best, and I can give any advice that I possibly can. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about is feeling kind of too old. I think a lot of people, you know, I think age is a big thing. In our mind, we are always old. You know, it's like, oh my God, I'm 25. Oh my God, I'm nearly 30. And then 30 comes and says, oh my God, I'm nearly 40. Like, we always feel old. Like, it's like when you've gone past 18, 21, 23, it's like suddenly like we're getting older. And the thing is, like, you just got to go. One of my best friends who I met in Australia, she was going to go to Canada and she's just turned 30. And I just think that is amazing. You've really got to do what you want to do. And we can't stick to this kind of idea of a society timeline. There's no timeline that is right for every single person. Everyone is different. And if you want to go traveling, you've really, really got to listen to that. I would just really encourage you to listen to that, and honestly it would be one of the best experiences I guarantee that you'll ever do. So yeah, those are hopefully some little tips that, you know, or maybe some of the main worries, let's say, that people have, that hopefully I can just give a little bit of insight on. And also just to put it out there as well, say you are settled, you don't have to go away for like a year, 2 years, or nothing at all, you know? You can still go traveling and do it in shorter trips. You may say 1 year, decide you're going to go to Bali for 3 weeks, or you might decide to go to Australia for like 3 weeks, or you might decide you're going to go on 4 to 5 weekend trips away to Europe, and you might do Venice, Prague, Paris, Rome. Like, Traveling doesn't have to be like a huge go away for 2 years and that's it. You know, make it exciting, do it in short bursts. And say you're with a partner that doesn't particularly like traveling, like go yourself or go with some friends, you know, like if you've got a friend that also likes traveling, you know, again, do some weekends away. And also, like, say career-wise as well, just going back to that, if you are in a career that you feel that you can't leave, you never know, you might be able to talk to a manager, you may be able to speak to somebody, maybe able to do some sort of sabbatical leave, and you just never know if you don't ask. They may decide that they're going to keep your position open for a year, and so that, you know, they get a temp in, you can go travelling, and then you come back. And the other thing to note with that as well is I think a lot of people can weigh up whether it's going to be career or travelling. And actually, two good friends of mine who I met in Australia, they had done marketing degrees, they had worked in the UK for a certain period of time on marketing, and then they decided to go travelling. But then they continued their career out in Australia. They got marketing jobs. And one of them came back to the UK and is still in marketing, and the other one is still in marketing but has actually now got a what's it called, residency in Australia. So it just shows, like, it doesn't have to be either or, but whatever situation you're in, if you're trying to weigh up settling or traveling, I would really encourage going traveling, because you've got your whole life to settle down. And if you are already settled, then you can still go traveling. Make it shorter trips, go with your partner, go with friends. Even it's quite daring, but you know, I have another friend that actually goes like on a weekend break alone. My voice just went then. But I hope this was helpful for some of you guys out there. Please reach out to me on Instagram if I can answer any more questions or you have any more worries. And yeah, that was my first video. Let's use the clicker. Oh, and thanks for watching. How rude, didn't even say.